morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are in the world. This is episode number 44 on our weekly get-together called From Ordinary to Extraordinary, where we explore the psychology and the strategies of ultimate performance, genius, greatness, and bringing that greatness to the world. And I want to welcome you here. And I'm really grateful to have you. We're going out simultaneously now to Facebook and to Twitter and to my friends on Instagram. So thank all of you for being here. We're right in the middle of a series. In case you don't know, you're behind if you're just joining, and series is a new concept for you. We're in the middle of a series called The Strategies of Titans. And so you can catch up, not to worry. I got you covered. All you need to do is go to jamesray.com/live-cast. Once again, jamesray.com/live-cast, C-A-S-T. And we have a library of all our From Ordinary to Extraordinary. Again, this is episode 44. So there's a lot of great resources for you there for your future development, current development, and performance moving forward. And I hope you'll take great advantage of that. Now, while we're doing a couple of housekeeping items and waiting for everyone to join, if you're on Facebook, just weigh in, please, and tell me who you are and where you're coming in from. I get great joy, literally, out of seeing how this community is building and growing every single week. And some of you are contributing greatly to that. I'll get to that in just a moment. So just weigh in down below. I always come back afterwards. I don't have time because I have a lot of content to cover for you here today to answer the questions live, but I will answer them post our live cast, as I always do. And just post down below who you are, where you're from, say hello. And also, just do me a big favor. And if you're on Facebook, right down here is a share button. It's really easy, you know. It takes the click of one finger. Just hit that share button and help me, help you, help those that you love and care about. Just share it with your community, and that's how we continue to grow. And that's how many of you, who I'm extremely grateful for, are contributing to the growth of From Ordinary to Extraordinary, in this community we're building, in this conversation we're building around genius and greatness. Every single week, you're a big part of that as you continue to share. So please do that. Just hit that button. You see it? It's right down here. And if you're on Twitter, you can retweet, if you will, please. I will really appreciate that. And speaking of that, let me just do a quick shout out to those who shared last episode last week. Nicola Jenkins, thank you so much for doing that. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure you made an impact on your community with this series that we're going through, Strategies of Titans. L.A. Carter, thank you. Nancy Winters, the Rogers twins, Anthony and Andrew, you know I love you guys. Nora Jones from Dubai, Tracy Egger, Sean Morse, Paul Campbell, my minister friend from hot Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, Paul. Hopefully you're here today. I know if you're not here live, you'll be here later. You always are. Thanks for sharing, my friend. Rahul Mahajan, thank you. You've shared before, and I appreciate that. Sandy Arango, Pranav Hanreo. There, I think I got it. Pranav Hanreo. Thank you, my friend. And I know that you are in, I believe, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, you're in the apprentice program for the Prometheus Academy of Life and Business Growth and Development, and so Life and Business Acceleration. And so I really am excited about you and getting to meet you in more depth and detail very shortly. Russ Litow, thank you for sharing. Tommy Raines, Nelly Corazon. That's a new name, I think. Hey, Nellie, thank you for sharing and spreading the wealth. Sean Morse, Sophia Siskow. I think that's a new name too. Sophia, thank you for sharing. Candace Lewis, I don't believe I've seen Candace before. Thank you. Sunstar Goal Setting. You know, Kristen's never shared before, has she? Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate all of you for doing that. Now, one other quick item. As I already mentioned, there's all the resources, all of these live casts chronicled on my website, and I've already given you that. If you missed it, go back and rewind after we're done, and you can listen to that URL. Also, right above my head here on Facebook, if you haven't yet signed up for the contest to have a free, expenses paid, airline paid, meal paid consult, 2 hours with me at one of my favorite restaurants. I was just there over the weekend here in Hollywood. I promise you, the food is off the hook. I don't eat Italian very often because I stay away from starchy carbs, and there's good reason for that. We can talk about that sometime when we talk about diet, but not today. But nonetheless, once in a while, you just got to go for it if you're with me, right? And so we're gonna do some great Italian, and when I'm gonna do carbs, they better be great, right? Not mediocre. And this place is great, I can promise you. We're running a contest on Facebook. The link is right here. On Instagram, the link is in my bio. And on Twitter, the link is right here too. You can grab an advanced copy of my upcoming book, Redemption, The Price of Leadership in Both Life and Business. Redemption, the price of leadership in both life and business. I'm sure, I'm really praying that it's going to touch you at deep levels, not only for your business, but for your life and the quality of your life. And so you can grab an advanced copy. I will personally sign it. And you can also enter a contest to win that consult. And I will fly you here to Los Angeles. I will take you to Hollywood, and we will have the greatest dinner, not only the greatest food, but we'll have a great in-depth conversation about your life and about your business. And I have a lot of history you may or may not be aware of doing business consultations all the way back to AT&T School of Business, where that was my job at AT&T, was to work with C-suite executives on how to turn their organization and their team to ultimate performers. And so I love to help you, and I've worked with many, many entrepreneurs as well, as you're probably aware. So just click the link, all right? Now, strategies of titans. The theme today, or the topic today, is if you can't measure it, you'll never have it. If you can't measure it, you'll never hold it. All right? Now, thus far, if you're just joining this series, we've talked about, the first principle of Titans was, are you chasing the right thing? Make sure you are chasing the right thing. Number 2 was complete immersion. We call that focus or fail. This one, if you can't measure it, you'll never have it. Now, what we're talking about here is not only strategies of Titans for sure, but we're talking about getting into the flow state of ultimate performance. And I promise you, there's mounds of research, and I mentioned Mihai Csikszentmihalyi in a previous episode, but Professor Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I've had conversations with him. He wrote the book Flow. If you're going to reach a state of ultimate performance, if you're going to scratch the surface even, of your ultimate potential, you're going to have to get into the focus flow state. And that's what we're talking about here. All great athletes know it. All great entrepreneurs know it. All great painters know it. All great musicians know it. All greats know it. Whether they can articulate it or not is irrelevant. All right? Now, this one, if you can't measure it, you won't have it. A goal or intention that you set for your life or business, unless it has specificity, unless it has a clear due date, it's really nothing more than a wish. And a wish has absolutely no torque. It has absolutely no power. It has very little energy. Does that make sense to you? It might seem like common knowledge, but it's not commonly practiced. A goal or intention without specificity, without a clear due date, is nothing more than a wish. And a wish has no torque, it has no power, it has very little energy. So, to fully understand this third strategy of Titans necessitates that we dive a little bit, not too deeply, but a little bit into science. Stick with me. I love science. I've studied quantum physics for well over a decade, maybe pushing 15 years, all right? And I'm not a physicist. So I have to simplify it for myself, for me to understand it, because that's how I need it, and that's how I'm going to give it to you here today. But if you're a fan of quantum physics, if you're a fan of science, we're going to go there today, and I'm going to make it really, really, really practical. Because if it's not practical, it has no purpose. Not in this lifetime. All right? Now, the first thing you have to understand, with regard to your intentions, with regard to achieving your potential, is that science tells us that everything is energy. You with me? You know, even great spiritual traditions tell us everything comes from God, all things come from the same source. Well, science says it in just different terms. Every single thing, you know, from a pine tree to a Porsche to a palace to a planet to your purpose, is comprised of energy. It's all energy, all right? So you've got to understand not how to get energy, because you already are energy. Your body is energy, your money is energy, your bank account is energy, your business is energy, your car is energy, your house is energy, everything is energy. You with me so far? Stick with me on this. I promise this is a game changer when you get it. Now, at the most basic level, everything is energy. And what we know about energy is that energy has what we call a frequency. All right? It's got a vibration. And every single thing in this universe, this is straight science, straight up science. Every single thing in this universe is comprised of the same substance. The only difference between your car and your body is the rate of vibration. You with me? I mean, it's the same substance. The only difference between your money and your mind is the rate of vibration. It's the same substance, and in science we call that a frequency. Again, stick with me. Now, I hope you're taking notes, all right? Because this can seem a little complex, and I'm going to do my best to simplify it. Because remember, the title of today is if you can't measure it, you'll never hold it. If you can't measure it, you'll never have it. And so there's a lot of things in this universe that you can't measure. And if you can't measure it, you can't hold it. Now, what do we know? Two things. Everything is energy. Number two, all energy has a frequency. And the different frequencies, or vibration, if you will, is what differentiates you from me, from your house, your car, a Porsche, a pine tree, a planet, or a porcupine. All right? You with me so far? It's all the same substance. Now, physics tells us that energy manifests or shows up in two different ways. And this is really important, and I promise this is so practical. Just stick with me here. Energy shows up in two different ways. It's either a wave or it's a particle. Okay? Let me repeat that. Energy only shows up in two ways. It's either a what? Wave. Bear, did you hear Bear? I had her looped in. I love it. Or it's a particle. It's either or, all right? And it's also both and. Now that's a mind bender. Stick with me. It's either a wave or a particle. Now, I hope you're taking notes. The energy frequencies of waves, and let's call energy in the wave state, let's call that the spiritual state of energy. Now, when I say spiritual, for you it might mean religious, and I respect that. But in this conversation, let's say it doesn't mean religious. Spiritual just means you can't hold it. It's a spirit. It's in spiritual state. A wave in a very high frequency is in a spiritual state. A wave is in a state that is formed yet. Okay? Now, energy vibrates, remember that's frequency, all the way from a couple cycles per second, like your phone, all right, vibrates at a couple cycles per second. That's why it seems tangible and hard, because it's a very slow moving energy. and and we can call that CPS, cycles per second, and it then vibrates all the way up to the highest measurement that we have the acuity to measure thus far is 10 billion cycles per second. And that's what's called cosmic waves. So it goes from a couple cycles per second all the way up to 10 billion cycles per second. Now, let me just give you a visual of a visual aid of what 10 billion is. Bear, do you have an extra 10 billion you can loan me here for real quick? Come on, Bear. I need 10 billion. All right? This, can we see it, Bear, on the screen?
Yes.
This is 10 billion cycles per second. Right? It's 10 followed by 18 zeros. Now, how fast is that? Well, in my world, I just say it's pretty damn fast. Okay? Because I have no idea how fast 10 billion is. I just know it's pretty damn fast. But see, it goes from a real slow couple cycles per second to like, I mean, it is so fast that it almost doesn't appear to be moving because it's so fast. We don't have the visual acuity or the sensory acuity to be able to see it moving. Very, very high vibration. That's cosmic waves. So let's say cosmic waves is a spiritual state, the ultimate spiritual state. It's not really the ultimate. That's all we have, the acuity, the ability to measure at this point in time because it's infinite. Okay, it probably goes to 10 trillion billion gazillion cycles per second, whatever the hell that is. But let's just work with 10 billion because we can't even fathom that anyway, right? All the way down from 10 billion all the way down to a couple cycles per second, right? And we live in a couple cycles per second world, right? We have waves that are in our couple cycles per second world that we can't see, but we know they're here. We can't hold them, but we know they're here. We have microwaves. Hopefully you don't use those. They're deadly. All right. We have gamma waves. We have ultraviolet waves. We have all kinds of waves that are all the same stuff, and they just have different frequencies. Okay, am I blowing your hair back if you have any so far? All right, take good notes. Take good notes. Are you thinking? You're like, yeah, James, I'm thinking, what the hell does this have to do with strategies of Titans? Everything. Everything. Okay, look. Physical forms have very slow frequencies. If you're with me, just type yes. All right? Physical forms have very slow frequencies. Do you follow me on this? Just type yes. All right? I'm going to come back and I'm going to check you out. All right? Now, spiritual forms or the state of no form have very high frequencies. If you're with me, type yes. Okay? Now, are you thinking to bring, well, let me back up. So you have a thought. Now, would a thought be a low frequency vibration or would it be a high frequency vibration? Right? We can call that an intention. We can call that a goal. It's not in physical form yet. It's in the spiritual form, the realm of spirit. It's not in the physical form yet. You know, when you put it in your bank account, it's in the physical form. 1, 2, 3. You with me? Is it starting to make some sense, right? When you're just dreaming about it, when you're fantasizing about it, don't do that very long. When you're creating an intention, when you're creating a goal, it's in a really high vibratory state. Now, let me promise you this. A vast majority of people that I work with, I coach, and I mentor, and I teach, and I meet, don't get what they desire and deserve in life because they don't understand energy. I'll give you a couple of examples in just a moment. But when you do understand the fundamentals, not my ideas, quantum physics, bucko, the fundamentals of this universe, you begin to take off at Mach 10. And that's a real high vibration, Mach 10. All right? So, recap. Spiritual state, high vibration. Physical form, low vibration. Your thoughts, high vibration. What do you have to do then? Because high vibration doesn't do shit for you. It might feel good. That's something, right? It might be fun to play around with. Someone posted on Facebook on one of my posts this week and says, oh, but I just love to, to sit on the couch and fantasize. I'm like, good luck with that one. With all due respect, good luck with that one. You can fantasize in your head all day long. You ain't going to get the white horse until you get it down into the physical plane. And the way you bring that infinite energy down into the physical plane is to slow it way down. Are you with me? So the question is, how do we slow it way down, James? Well, I've already given you the answer. I'll give it to you again. Specificity, measurable, tangible, clear, concise, with a due date. Remember I said to you that an intention or a goal that isn't clear, concise, and has a due date is nothing more than a wish. A wish is a real high vibration. Not going to do much for you. Okay? What you want are results. And that's what we're talking about here. Now, what I'm talking about in very simplistic terms, and we don't have time to get into it in great depth and detail here today, is the most fundamental principle in quantum physics called the observer effect. Because when you get something specific and measurable, then it automatically starts to, here's a word for you, particulate. In other words, we said energy manifests in two ways. What were those ways? What were they? Come on, right? Just sign in here. Tell me what you got. Waves and particles. When something becomes specific, when you observe it clearly, it starts to become a particle. And when something becomes a particle, then, according to science, it attracts other like particles to it. And it attracts other like particles and other like particles and other like particles. And pretty soon, bam, you've got a business. Now, I know this might sound mystical, and it is to some degree. And it's also very, very practical. Flo, come over here. Down. Today's Flo's birthday, so I let her stay out of her kennel for the live cast. But she's not being very good. A vague goal or intention creates vague results. Is that what you want? No. A specific goal and intention creates specific and measurable results. Now, again, this might seem like common knowledge, but it's not commonly practiced. I can't begin to tell you, as I've already said, how many of my coaching clients just don't get this. I remember talking to one gentleman several years ago who said to me, James, God told me I was going to make $1 million next year. I said, that's great. How are you going to do that? Well, I really don't know. It's just going to happen. It didn't. Right? Now, please, don't think that I'm discounting the ability for seemingly miraculous things to occur. I mean, I've had some seemingly incredible, miraculous occurrences in my life just in the nick of time. Have you ever had those? It shows up just when you need it, as you need it, in the perfect time, in the perfect place. I've had that happen to me more times than I can count. And what I can promise you is that there's something else going on prior to, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. I was working with one of my executive coaching clients just last night. She has a staging business where she stages houses to be sold. Brilliant business. It costs her she has an overhead of about $20,000 a month just to break even, and everything after that, which she easily does almost every single month, and everything after that is profit. And she said, James, I was I was kind of in a space here. I was in a tight space because I have to come up with 20 grand to pay the bills next month, and I didn't see where they were coming from. She said, but you know what? Working with you, I didn't get worried. She said, for the first time in my life that I can recall, I didn't get worried. Now look, put this in your notes. You can't worry enough to fix anything. Right? When you get worried, you get a bad vibration. You get in a disempowered state. You're not resourceful. You're not resilient, not creative. You're not innovative. Drop that like a hot stone, please. All right? She said, working with you, I didn't get worried. Because we've been working for months and months on releasing, some of her self-limitations and self-beliefs and self-perceptions and perceptions of the world and all these kinds of things. She said, I just sit down and I just had this intention that I really need to create a couple of contracts, and I needed, she said, I put that out into the universe. And this is a hugely successful young lady. And she said, you know what? In just a couple of days, I had a phone call, and I've got 2 to 3 brand new contracts on the books, rocking and rolling. And I said, that's amazing. Now, it seems like a miracle, right? And that's where a lot of people who are unaware would say, oh, I just got to sit down on my couch and not be worried, and I just got to visualize, and it's going to just flow into my bank account, and the phone's going to ring. Wrong. Because here's what has to happen. And here's what I can promise you. All seemingly miraculous things are preceded by work and preparation and practice. Are you with me on this? I'm not here to teach you magic. I'm here to help you experience the magic of life. Because there's no magic in life, but life is magical when you understand it. You see, you've got to have enough self-awareness to set the right intention, to set the right goals, to be in the right place at the right time, to meet the right people and get the right opportunities, make the right decisions, take the right action, and get the right results. Did you follow that? You want me to repeat it? You've got, if I can, because that just kind of flowed, right? You've got to have enough self-awareness to set the right intentions. And that's where it starts. That's episode number 1. Most people, you are hardwired to be great. You've been given a gift by God, and most people are chasing the wrong things. They're not using their gifts because they're chasing something that society or others have told them is romantic and sexy. And that's just surefire road to holy hell. And failure and frustration. All right? You got to set the right intention, and then you've got to be in the right place at the right time to meet the right people, to get the right opportunities, and make the right decisions, to take the right action and get the right results. And then it seems like it's miraculous. Then everyone around you will go, oh my God, everything just shows up for you, and you don't do anything, and you can just go, I know a secret. Yeah. You do know a secret, but it's not magic. It's magical, and I hope you get the difference. You see, Carl Jung, I'm a big fan. If you study psychology, you know Carl Jung. He talked about serendipitous situations, serendipity, where seemingly miraculous things show up, and serendipity is much more likely to happen when you go through this sequencing that I just explained. Right intention, right place, right time to meet the right people, get the right opportunities, make the right decisions, take the right action, get the right results. And then it's like serendipity. Fate favors the people who are prepared and bold. Fate favors the prepared and the bold. God and life bless those who prepare and do the work. Yeah, you got to visualize. Yeah, you got to pray. And then you got to bust hump. While you're visualizing, you got to bust hump. I call that going 3 for 3. If you know my teachings, thoughts, feelings, action must all be in alignment. And when you're doing all those things, then everyone says, oh, you're just so damn lucky. Luck has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Luck is an acronym, write this in your notes, for living under correct knowledge. When you understand how things work, everyone around you will say, oh, he, she is just so damn lucky. And you can just smile and say, you know what? You should work with James. Or somebody who really knows how the universe works. Because I'm living under correct knowledge. You can call it luck. I'm living under correct knowledge. I understand how things work, and I'm not only understanding it, but I'm applying it every single day. So, how do you create your particle? Let me just give you a few examples. Someone might say, I'm going to get in better shape. That sucks. No. That becomes, I'm working out 4 days per week, and I weigh a healthy and fit 185 pounds. Get the difference. I'm going to be a better parent. Nope, that's spiritual state. That's high vibration. No, it ain't going to do shit for your family. All right? I'm going to become a better parent. No, that becomes, I'm spending a minimum of 1 hour every single week, one-on-one with each of my children, talking to them. What a concept. Talking to them, not watching TV. Talking to them about one of their favorite life topics and doing something they enjoy. I'm going to build a successful business, James. That's what I'm going to do. No, you ain't. Not until it becomes, I'm building a business generating a minimum of $100,000 in profit every single year. In profit. That's a key 2 words, right? In profit every single year, selling online subscriptions or whatever it is you do. Do you follow me? I think you get the drift. I hope that you do. Now, if you can't measure it, you ain't going to hold it. Let me give you 4 quick tips to wrap this up. Write them down. Number 1, energy is your greatest currency. You don't need more money. You need more energy. There's a reason they call money currency. Right? Energy is the greatest currency. Frequency, vibration, it's all energy. You don't need more money, you need more energy. It doesn't take money to make money, it takes energy to make money. Energy should be your primary objective. And this is a long topic that we don't have time to explore here today, but we'll get into it later. But let me tell you something. If you don't have enough energy, then you're at fault. It's your responsibility. Because the only time you're not totally vibrant, vital, and alive is when you have done something to unplug from the infinite source that science tells us exists and every great spiritual tradition tells us exists. You're doing something wrong. You're tired? You're to blame. Energy is the greatest currency. You got to be an energy machine, and you are. You have enough you know what? You have enough energy in your. This is proven. You have enough energy in your body right now to light up the whole North American continent for over an entire week. You do. Now you convert that to kilowatt hours. You know what that's worth? Billions. You're already a billionaire. And if you're not experiencing it in your life in all forms, shapes, and fashion, it's because you're doing something that's knocking you off your game. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, nutritionally. Energy is your prime objective, number 1. Number 2, find your greatness. You're already hardwired for greatness. God gave you a gift. Use it. Your greatest gift from God is your own unique genius and greatness. It's got to be developed. Your greatest gift back to God is to use it. Not to use some other shit that somebody else or something else tells you you should be chasing in this world. You know, if you chase what you're here to chase, your gifts, your genius, your purpose, you got to know what they are. Then you're going to live a fulfilling life. Number 3, do one thing. I talk a lot about this. Your one thing. How many horses can you ride successfully at the same time? I mean, even a circus act can ride 2, and you're not a circus act, but even if you are, you can ride 2, but you can't ride 3 and do great. You can't. Pick your horse. Do your one thing. Go all in. If you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing. Waste. Number 4, set an intention that is specific, timed, measurable, that moves you in the direction of your own personal greatness, genius, and purpose. Those are your milestone markers. The more specific and measurable your intention is, the greater the likelihood that you'll live it, that you'll experience it, that you'll have it, and you'll be fulfilled by it. Because only in this way does the energy wave become a particle. If you can't measure it, you'll never have it. Turn it into a particle, my friend. Your life deserves it. The world needs it. Thanks for being here. Click the link. I hope this has been something that's been of value to you. Share with your friends and family someone who needs to know about energy and creating what they desire and deserve and living their dreams. Until we speak again, as always, stay awake, love life, and be epic.